Welcome back to Pontypool Golf Club. My name is Leon Warne, PGA professional. Today's lesson, the grip, or better known as the hold. So, grip in the golf club. Usually a subject we start with when we're teaching beginners who are new to the game of golf, because it's the most important thing I feel before you even start to hit a golf ball is holding the club correctly. I still see golfers now who've been playing many years who've got poor grips and have stuck with them for a long time and have built a habit, I guess, over a lifetime with a poor grip, which has really affected their game. And golfers should really occasionally have what I call an MOT, get their grip looked at. It's very easy to fall into bad habits, and golfers really need to understand by having a poor grip how much of a factor it plays on how the club face comes back to hitting the golf ball. So today's discussion is how we get a good grip and go forward from checking it and making sure it's right each time you hit a golf shot. So when I start with the beginner, it's all about making sure we've got a hold that's secure, but it also generally is going to feel good going forward and help you use the right muscles in your body. There are 3 grips that you can choose from, but generally speaking, I narrow it down to 2. The 3 options are the baseball grip, where you get one hand below the other. That generally is okay for young kids who've got very small hands. The other option you have then is what we call the interlocking grip, where your forefinger and your little finger interlock together. And then thirdly, you've got the overlapping grip, where the little finger of your right hand sits kind of little piggybacking on the left hand there. It used to be called the Varden grip, designed by Varden, the golfer, the famous golfer. Now, let's get away from the baseball grip for the moment. I find interlocking grip is ideal if you've got, say, smaller fingers, slightly smaller hands. Overlapping is what I tend to use. You tend to find a lot of the professionals, you probably got a slightly higher percentage using the overlapping. Probably that's about 60%, I'm guessing here, and the rest then would be using interlocking. You need to find one that either interlocking or overlapping is going to be comfortable for you. So recommend maybe a golf lesson there to get the professional to look at your grip and to see which would be best for you. I'm going to show you the both grips there today, but how important is where the hands are placed and where they're positioned. So first things first, the only parts of our body that have got contact with the golf grip, the rubber grip, is our hands, and that's why it's really important we get these right. Your hands control the club face and tell that club face what it's going to do. If your hands are placed poorly on the golf club, this club face you will not be in control with. It will have a destiny of its own, i.e. closed club face or an open face, because of your hands being in a poor position. Tend to find most of the time golf poor grips are generally down to position on the hands most of the time. So first things first, how we go about building a good grip. And I would like to say by starting off, generally speaking, is to make sure before you take your hold is that your leading edge, that's the bottom part of your club face here, is at right angles to your target line before you take your grip. Otherwise, you could have a great grip, but your club face is pointed in the wrong direction. So if I put this at right angles, just to give you an idea, the leading edge there with the stick on the floor is at right angles, and that will help me determine then where I place my hands. So I tend to I've got a training aid on here as well. You can buy these, very useful if you're learning how to grip a golf club for the first time. The slight negative sometimes is if you've got the wrong size and you've got bigger hands, it can be a problem. So I start with if I'm a right-handed golfer, I start with my right thumb on top at the end of the grip, lined up, and start with my left hand. We want to make sure we're about 1/4 inch down off the butt end of the club. There's the end of the club. We don't want to be overhanging that, but 1/4 inch down off the bottom. And we want to get this running through the base of our palm of our hand, down towards the fingers here, so that the meaty pad of your hand here is kind of sitting on the top of the golf club there. We don't want it to be underneath, where the club now is running up through the palm of my hand. That's not going to be a great grip. It's going to move around. You tend to find your golf glove will wear very quickly. You do find your golf glove is wearing very quickly here. It's generally down most of the time to a poor grip, or the fact you might have had a glove for over a long period of time. But generally, if you've worn your glove out very quickly, it's generally down to a poor grip. So again, just to re-emphasize, is we're going to put the right thumb on, left hand just at the base of my finger, so the meaty pad goes on the top. I stand here at the angle, there we go. You can see that meaty pad just on top. My fingers close up, my thumb on top. If I turn around to you and face you now, what I want to be able to see here, or what I should say you should be able to see here, is maybe 2.5 knuckles showing on the left hand. And this line that I created here on my left hand, that's pointing up, generally speaking, to my right chin and my right shoulder. Okay, that's where I want to be positioned with my left hand. The reason the thumb is sitting on top of the grip and just to the side slightly is that when we get to the top of our backswing, we want that thumb to support the club. If your thumb is wrapped around here, for example, or off this side of the club, you will find the club will move around a lot in your hands and will start to collapse in your backswing. So that thumb position, quite important. And now I want to be in a position where I can hinge my wrist. There we go, hinge my wrist on both sides. That feels comfortable. And I also want to be able to turn the club head slightly on both sides as well. That's what we call a neutral grip there. Now if I put my left hand over too excessively and I show a lot of knuckles, 1, 2, 3, I'm almost showing four knuckles there. That's what we call a strong grip or a hooker's grip. And that's where your hand position, when it comes back to impact, if I let my arms just hang naturally here, you see my hands point slightly inwards. Now if I've got a strong grip and I'm showing all these knuckles, I'm likely now, when I come back to hit the golf ball, my hand will want to go into its comfortable position, which is roughly about here, and that club face now is shut, it's closed. That's why we call it hooker's grip, or we'll go left. And vice versa, if my left hand is the other way, this side of the golf club, where I've got no knuckles showing at all, or one knuckle maybe, and the thumb straight down, that's what we call a weak grip, a slicer's grip. I'm likely now when I come back into hitting this golf ball, my hand will want to go back to its natural position, where I am relaxed, and that will leave, there we go, as my natural position, the club face open, and that creates potential slice out to the right. So left hand position, really, really important. 2 little bit knuckles. There we go. This line pointing towards my right shoulder, to my right chin and my right shoulder. Great position now to start to place my right hand. So my right hand goes underneath, but what I'm going to do this time is just the overlapping little finger, just very lightly sits between my forefinger and my longer finger of my left hand, just very lightly. I'm not going to wrap that right round. I just want it to sit on piggyback nice and light. Rest of my fingers onto the club. Now this is important. You'll see my forefinger and thumb. They're kind of pinching together here. It's almost like shooting a pistol. I don't shoot a pistol often, but that's the sort of figure. If you're holding a gun, pistol, and you've got the trigger finger, you can see that in my right hand. It's the same kind of thing. It's in a shooting position there. Nice and neutral. That V I've created here, that V point's going kind of through my chest there. Nice neutral grip. Same again, if my right hand is underneath, and I'm showing a lot of fingers here, that's a strong grip. Hand goes back to where it should be. I'm going to hook the club face, and vice versa. If my right hand's right over, a lot of golfers think by getting their right hand right over, they can turn the club face. That's a big no-no. In fact, it makes things worse because as you come back to hit the ball, my hand will want to go back to its neutral. Club face is open. So your hands are really, really important about how that club face comes back to hitting the golf ball. Just before we hit a shot with this, we're talking about the grip, is the grip pressure. Now obviously I've just shown you the overlapping. There's the other option there, instead of overlapping, the two fingers interlock very, very lightly. Too many golfers interlock really, really tight, like so. Okay, that's too tight. But straight away, my right hand, look, cannot get over. I have to interlock nice and slack here, nice and loose with the two fingers in order to get my right hand into that pistol position we talked about. So for me, my hands are kind of too big for interlocking. I need to have an overlapping grip. That's where I feel comfortable. Okay, so just going back, rewinding slightly, I mentioned about the grip pressure, how tight we should be holding this club. Another big no-no, don't want to be holding this for your dear life. I see so many golfers get back to impact and hold it even tighter. Grip pressure here should be, another analogy is a tube of toothpaste. Your rubber grip, a tube of toothpaste with the top off. We don't want any toothpaste to come out of that tube when we're hitting the golf ball. That's how light we are. Enough to hold on, but enough to be secure enough in our fingers, but not to squeeze the tube of toothpaste. We want it to be nice, even pressure without squeezing. I tend to find that's great with golfers when they start off with a dress. It's also the problem when they get to impact, they tighten up, they grip. You can see them grimace on their face. That's where they have applied too much pressure. Good analogy there is when you come back to hit the golf ball is, imagine you're using a hammer and nail and you're nailing a wall into the nail into the wall. Nice light, let the hammer do all the work for you. I'm not holding the hammer tight, pointless. Hammer head here, just maybe nice and relaxed with my hand. So that's the kind of grip pressure there. Again, I was knocking a nail in, nice and light. I want to feel that in my hands. I want to feel the weight of the club head. I don't want to be squeezing and feeling pressure here. So important, you're nice and relaxed. Okay, so I've built my grip, thumb at the end, left hand, just below the edge of the grip. That pointing up towards my right side of my body. A couple of knuckles, 2.5 maybe. Then that pistol position there with my right hand and my little finger just sitting piggy bank. So nice and relaxed. Think of that hammer nail analogy. Nice and loose in my hands, nice and relaxed. Make a golf swing. And that helps me get a feel for that grip. Hope that's been informative. There's a bigger discussion with grips going forward, but that'll give you the basics of getting a nice neutral grip on the golf club. If there's anything you're not sure about that, please message us. We can always answer some of your questions. Look forward to seeing you next time. It's Leon Warne, PGA Professional. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Look forward to seeing you next time and enjoy your golf. Thank you.